Wait. The entrance thing is like, we speak for the trees have no tongue.
Yeah.
I thought it was nose.
Is it tongue or tongues?
Tongues.
Tongues.
I think we should just use this for the real intro right here. What you just said there. All right. Sweet.
True that.
All right,
let's just go with that.
Okay. Cool. Well,
so now it's officially started.
It has. So, I'm Nick.
Okay.
I'm Luke.
I'm Adela.
And then we have with us today is our second guest ever. We have my cousin, Hadley Richardson-O'Brien. It's a long and.
Oh no, you gave my whole name.
I did.
Where's the secret?
Oh, there's no
secret. I want to go by a code name.
Code name? Houndley?
Yeah.
Houndley? Okay.
That's cool.
Houndley? Well, she's a big The Hound fan, so, obviously.
I thought
I
it was
like Game of Thrones.
Well,
Pokemon.
Who doesn't like Game of Thrones? I think that's the real question. Wait.
Is that what this episode is about? Game of Thrones?
We could make it about Game of Thrones.
Actually, I went to a
I've
bunch
never
of
watched
places.
Game of Thrones.
You've never
What
watched
the
Game of
fuck?
Thrones?
Never watched Game of Thrones.
Ever.
You should read the books, they're good.
Or you should read Lord of the Rings.
You should read Lord of the Rings while watching Game of Thrones.
Or you should read Game of Thrones while watching Lord of the Rings.
That's what I said.
Possibly.
No, you said
Right?
the other.
What?
You said the other
okay.
one. Yeah.
Okay.
Alright.
We'll see.
The question is, have you seen Mr. Robot?
Oh, it's
No.
so good.
Someone told
I
me
didn't
to
see
watch
the episode
that.
last night yet.
I haven't seen any of the... I have to marathon the third season before we watch the finale together.
Oh, right. You're running out of time, man. That's next Thursday.
I can marathon it.
Well,
Okay.
all I'm saying is, I think you know what you're doing this weekend.
Yeah.
Is it on Netflix or Hulu?
It's on Amazon. If you have Amazon Prime, the first two
yeah.
seasons are
Yeah, I
on...
do actually.
Yeah. Oh, do you have to do the student shit?
What? No.
No? Did you know that's a thing?
Yeah, but I thought it was only for a semester.
It's for 6 months.
No,
Yeah.
it's for 6 months.
Yeah, that's still pretty fucking good for
I
free.
already used it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
Use a different
used
email.
all 3 of my college emails this past year. I've had
Yeah,
free
'cause-
Amazon Prime for a whole year.
Well, right, because
Wow.
like I did my Amazon Prime originally through my ECC email, and I deactivated it obviously before I would get charged or whatever. And I've been using my mom's, but I probably could just set one up with the NIU email.
Yeah, you can. I did that with my Point email, and then with my Harper email, and then after this one ends, I'm going to use my Columbia email.
Ooh, there you Oh, you. I always forget that you went to Columbia, man. How long were you there?
I was only there for a semester, and I was just like horribly depressed while I was there.
When
And
did
so
you
I
go?
dropped out.
When did you
Well,
go there?
I finished the semester, and then I dropped out.
Were you saying like when?
What year?
Oh, let me think. That's my sophomore year in college, so 2014? Yeah, 2014, 2015.
What?
Yeah.
Did you go to Columbia?
No, my ex went there though, and I
Oh.
stayed with her a lot.
Oh.
Where
Did she live in the dorms? Or did
lived-
she live
Yeah,
in the
she
city?
lived at the dorms.
Yeah.
I forget which dorm.
I feel like dorms are a weird thing. Like
And then we lived in Logan Square. Well, Palmer Square.
Palmer Square.
It's
At
like-
least the dorms at Columbia aren't like an
between
actual
Logan.
dorm. It's like an apartment.
And
I feel like I don't know the city well at all, except for concert venues.
it's right by the Concord.
Oh, dude. Oh, the Concord.
Yeah, it's right by there.
Great theater. Dude, Hadley.
Yeah.
So, what are you doing for New Year's?
Nothing.
Well, you should come to Green Sky Bluegrass with Eric and Adela and Alexander and me.
Ooh,
I don't think we're going to that.
What?
Yeah, I don't think we're going. Your brother said he couldn't go. They raised the ticket prices, so now they're $45. It's a little too pricey for me.
Man, damn, that
In
sucks
this
though.
time of struggle.
Yeah, no, I feel ya.
I would love to go. I love Green Sky Bluegrass, but
Fuck. Oh well. And actually, my buddies Brad and Evan and Zach and I were trying to get tickets for the Trey Anastasio band shows in April, and they're all sold out already.
really, wow.
Yeah, they sold out in 2 days.
That's crazy.
Man, it was at the Chicago Theater too, and I've never been there.
It's really nice. The Chicago Theater is nice.
I've heard. Oh man. You know, Hadley, How old were you when you moved to Barrington?
I was in 3rd grade.
3rd grade. Okay, so that's pretty.
Yeah,
Where
so-
you from?
So originally, we lived in like the Lincoln Park area for a really, really short time. Like my mom had lived there before I was born, and then we lived in Old Town in the city, until probably like preschool, and then we moved to Oak Park, and then we were in Oak Park until I was in about 3rd grade, and then we moved from Oak Park.
I think Eric lived in Oak Park.
Who did?
I think Eric lived in Oak Park when he
Oh,
was
really?
younger.
That's
Yeah, I
cool.
think so.
Oh, no, you may have been neighbors. You didn't even know it.
Either he lived there or his grandma lives there now.
No, his grandma Grandma Nikki.
Yeah, Grandma Sticky.
I thought she lives in Cumberland.
That's
Where
really
is he?
close though.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. Maybe.
Yeah, it's like one train stop away, like on the L.
Do you feel like you still have a pretty good grasp of like the city, like where you are and stuff, because of growing up in the city?
Well, yeah, that, and I also like work in the city in the summer.
I guess that's
so,
true. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I still have like a good grasp, and I mean, every time we go in the city, you know, my mom, she always likes to repeat the same stories about places.
Right.
And I feel like that helps me remember it more, because I'm like, there's the place I heard the same story like 50 times about. Down that street.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
Applying a narrative to places is actually a major way that a lot of indigenous people like create their stories and stuff.
And redundant.
Yeah. No. So wait, do you still remember how to get to like Old Town and stuff, like taking the L?
Oh,
and
yeah.
All that? Oh, dude.
Yeah, and like getting to Wicker Park and.
Wait.
Chinatown,
Does
all
that
stuff.
exotic pet shop still exist? The aquarium place?
Yes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does. So
What's that?
the Irish restaurant we used to go to.
Yeah, it's gone
not,
now.
Well, okay, so they're building a hotel there and then putting the restaurant in the hotel. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, but I'm pretty here. I'll check actually. I'm pretty sure it should still be there. It's called the Old Town Aquarium,
Yeah.
and it's actually a place to buy like exotic fish. But like they
zebra
have
turkey
like
fish there.
baby manta rays and
Oh,
like
and the
moray
eels.
eel. Yeah, it's still there. It's
Oh,
still,
that's so awesome.
dude, 12 to 7 or 12 to 8.
Oh, whoa, we should go sometime.
I'm down.
Fuck. Okay, cool. I remember when we were little and we would go with your mom to O'Brien's on St. Patty's Day. I remember when we would walk through that gate to Old Town on the sidewalk. It was like Spirited Away. We were always like,
Yeah.
oh, we can't look back. We'll get stuck here. You know, like that was a long
Yeah,
time
because
ago.
they have a really cool like gate with like a giant like clock like in the gate, like showing where Old Town is, like where it kind of starts. So it's like literally like, yeah, Spirited Away, like walking through the gates. It's really cool.
Oh, jellyfish.
Jerry.
Yeah,
Wow,
I'm
I got the
just
jellyfish.
some Old Town aquarium pics.
Can't beat it, man. Can't beat it. But I feel like I wish I was older when we would go to O'Brien's, because like we could like drink and get like I actually like a lot of that food now.
Yeah, Swifty.
You know what I mean? I would always just
Yeah.
get the like fish and chips. Damn. Yep.
That's a nice sign.
That is a nice sign.
Yeah, the whole like neighborhood's like really really kind of cool like this.
There's
Yeah.
there's a lot of little like pockets of weirdness in Chicago,
Yeah.
which I like. For anyone out there who's listening, you should go to the Old Town Aquarium.
We are
And
not
Old
paid
Town
by them.
Aquarium.
Yeah, we are not paid by them.
But if you are listening, owner of the Old Town Aquarium, we take sponsorship in the form of fishes. Thanks.
Oh.
Several fishes.
I want an eel though. I'd like an eel. I think
They have
eels.
zebra turkey fish too. So.
I feel like eels are actually pretty. I like snakes though too. I feel like eels are pretty cool. Like,
Yeah, they're water snakes.
well, no, there actually are water snakes. Eels are a little different.
They're water snakes.
Fine. Oh man, that's a real fucking bummer about the green sky though. I didn't know they raised the prices.
Yeah, I feel like if we bought them right when they went on sale, we probably would have been able to go.
Oh man, I could just go for another Whalers show, honestly.
Yeah, that would also be. Eric and I, we didn't see them on New Year's, but we saw them a few weeks into January a few years ago. At the House of Blues, and they were really good.
Did they have any of the original members on? I know sometimes Don Carlos goes on.
Yeah, they had a pretty decent amount of the original members on, and then the guy who sang at the show that we went to this past summer,
Mhm.
he wasn't a singer last time when I saw them with Eric.
Really?
Yeah, he wasn't the lead singer. It was like people from the original Wailers.
Oh wow. Well, that's.
And they also had different, like, the lady backup singers were different as well.
Mm.
So I don't know if they consistently change out the lady background singers, but the ones at the House of Blues, oh my god, they were so soulful. I love them. I like could not keep my eyes off of them.
Yeah. Those Rasta ladies are mesmerizing.
Yeah, I love me some Rasta women.
Yeah, me too. I'm down with dark. Oh.
I literally almost just spit out my juice.
Good. Oh.
Do you guys want to hear a fucked up story?
Yes.
Of course.
I had another paper I needed to write, and so I did what I normally do. I bribe Eric with some sort of
Candy and money.
some exactly.
$10 and a Hershey's
But
bar.
this time, Eric asked for no cookies and cream bars. He asked for some Chinese food from down the street.
Uh-huh.
So out of desperation to get my paper done, I bought him some orange chicken with some rice.
Uh-huh.
It was a platter combo. That's what it was called. And so, I was getting ready to leave because the lady said it would be ready in 15 minutes. And as I was leaving, I asked Eric if he wanted to come with. And he said, yeah, I guess I'll come with. And so we left and we picked up the food. And when we got back, we realized that both of us did not have our keys to get in.
Oh no!
So, I like to call it the most expensive Chinese food I've ever bought. We got charged a $75 bill. So we could get back inside our house.
Damn.
Dude, that sucks.
You should've
That's pretty
broke
funny
in.
though.
Yeah, no, it's a very funny story. Eric doesn't think it's very funny.
Well, that's like I think it was probably 3 years ago. Amanda and I actually were like gonna go out to dinner. This is my ex-girlfriend, and she like, I don't know, we were like fucking around or something, and she locked the garage door. That's like the door that you walk from like being in the garage into the house, not
Yeah.
like the big one. She locked that one on me, like just as like a joke, and then she forgot to unlock it. So when we left the house and we left in her car, I didn't have my house key on me. That door was locked, the back door was locked, and the front door we locked on the way out. Well, Alexander comes back later, and he's with his ex-girlfriend at the time, or with his girlfriend at the time, and they were in her car, so they also didn't have a house key, and my parents were in Galena, so we were essentially locked out of the house, and we would have been all weekend because it was a Friday night. So instead of calling a locksmith, Alexander had remembered that when he was younger, he figured out how to like move those glass windows down in like the sills in basements, you know? Like you can kind of like push it forward and it'll pop out a little bit and you can slide it over. And he was trying to do that, and he ended up punching through the window and it shattered. And I don't think he cut his hand very badly or anything, but the window shattered, so there was, shards everywhere. We had to clean that up. I ended up using packing tape to tape a layer, like a vinyl layer almost, across the whole window. And then we ended up, having to get the window fucking replaced. So now,
man.
even if I'm not driving somewhere, I always bring my keys with me.
Yeah. What's like the most was that also scary because Nick, you've been in our basement in our place, but so our laundry unit is downstairs in the basement in the place that we're renting, and so it's like the place I live in is kind of like a duplex, but it has 3 other like little houses inside of it.
3 houses, it's like a Russian doll or whatever.
Yeah. And so my place and the people next door to me, we have doors that go to the basement, and those doors lock.
Yeah.
And then the people that live above us have to go outside into the backyard, and then there's a door that leads down to the basement from outside. And I thought that door was locked. Like, I thought they had to lock it every time they wanted to use it. And it turns out that it's never locked, which is creepy because our basement is like cement and it has cement rooms down there. And now I know that hobos can definitely hide out in the basement without us ever knowing. But anyway, I did laundry before we left, and normally I don't lock the door when I'm still doing laundry because I have to go back down there. And so Eric was like, "Oh, let's see if we could get into the basement door." And so we went down there, and then I was like so hopeful. I was like, "Yes, I left the basement door open," and then it was locked.
Oh no, dude! I'm telling you, just
you live and you learn.
Yeah, exactly.
I ended up hiding the basement key though somewhere. Like, not in the house.
Gotcha. Yeah, don't say it on the air.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say it on the air because I don't want people to know where the hiding spot's at. But let's just say next time I get locked out, I won't have to pay $75 to get back in to my home.
That fucking sucks, dude. That's some expensive ass Chinese food.
Yeah, the most expensive Chinese food I ever bought.
I wonder how good $75 Chinese food would be, though.
That's a good question. Hadley, have you ever been to the Asian place on Main Street in Barrington? That place is expensive.
Oh. Okay, that place, the chain.
Maybe?
Like the new one that just opened up that has like the fire that shoots out.
Yeah, it's really gaudy and shit.
Yeah, it's literally like the same food that we have at the sushi place I used to work at, but like double the price and like okay quality.
Huh.
Yeah, you're really just paying for the building itself.
Yeah.
Look at these columns of fire.
I mean, they serve the sushi in boats, so those are each of those boats. I was talking to the sushi chef at the place I used to work, and those boats, like the sushi boats, are so expensive. Like the plates themselves, they can be like $200.
What do you mean a boat?
Okay, here, let me find a picture. It's literally, they serve the sushi in a boat-shaped plate.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
No. Not that I know
I'm not
of,
a
at least.
fan of Chinese food or like sushi or anything like that.
Have you ever had dim sum?
What does it look like? I feel like
dim sum, what it is like, you're in a restaurant and there are constantly people around you pushing carts. And all the carts have like a bunch of like little plates full of like tons of different dishes. And like, yeah, you just go, oh, I want that, and they like put it out on the table for you. So here's some examples of sushi boats, and let me get some dim sum.
Oh wow.
Oh, that's cool. I just saw the picture in the corner. I didn't know.
Oh wow, that's really cool. I mean, it looks really pretty. I could see why people would think that it's like really good quality shit if it looks like that.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
But, like, you could get like
stupid.
pretty close to that quality at the place that I worked for like half the price. It's just we have like a kind of shitty to go atmosphere.
Yeah. Well, plastic at least.
Yeah,
maybe,
no,
yeah.
I was just kidding.
Well, for those of you who can't see these pictures right now, and I can,
We'll post some.
yeah. But basically, it's a really fancy ass. It's literally like a boat made out of wood that they're like literally serving sushi in like open face. It's pretty cool looking, and it's fucking big, man. There's got to be at least 30 different pieces of sushi on there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Have you ever bought sushi from Hoodman's?
What's that?
That's what they call
Woodman's.
Woodman's. That's Eric and Adela's thing. They call it Hoodman's.
I think the closest women's is in Kenosha, so...
No, there's one.
They have a guy
There
that's
is?
there. He'll roll it
One
fresh in
goes
front of
there.
you.
Oh, why is the sushi at Woodman's good?
I don't know. I'm the only time I've ever had sushi. I've heard that it's good. A lot of people like it. But I just am not like a fish person. I don't really like Chinese food or anything like that. And I just wanted to try some sushi. And so my cousin gave me one of their little rolls, and I ate half of it, and I threw it up, and I got really sick from it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But no one else got sick from it.
Damn. That's intense. Hey, did you ever, how long did you work at the sushi place, Hadley?
Oh gosh, so I worked off and on since freshman year of high school.
Wow. Until
so,
pretty recently, right?
Yeah, so about off and on for about 7 years.
Okay. Did you ever, what was the craziest thing that you would see as reactions to, was there a lot of people that would go there and had not really tried sushi much, or?
Oh yeah, a lot of people. We're in a really good location because we're right in between the high school and the middle school. And sometimes we'd have some really annoying middle school kids that just come and chug soy sauce.
Yeah.
But what we'd always see is kids tricking or daring their friends to eat a whole thing of wasabi, the dollop that we give them.
Oh god.
So at least once a month, if not once a week, you just see a kid extremely teary-eyed, crying after eating a whole thing of wasabi.
Didn't you say that one time somebody came from the Ren Fair or Medieval Times or something?
Oh, are you talking about the time? Yeah, I got asked out and I didn't realize it.
yeah, that time.
So, one time I was working and this guy comes over and he's ordering, and he gives me the money, and he's like, "Here you go, m'lady." And okay, I'm on the internet a lot. I kind of don't. I've heard a lot of horror stories about people that go m'lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So I was kind of and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I just got off work at Medieval Times. I'm one of the knights there or whatever." And I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." He's like, "Yeah, I get free passes. If you ever want to go sometime, we could go on the weekend." I'm like, "Here's your change." And then I'm because I was on autopilot, I'm I took his order and I'm like, "Oh, here's your change." And then I just walked to the back and I was so close, just hitting my head against the wall, "Oh my god, you missed a free chance to go to Medieval Times."
Yeah, even if you didn't like the guy, it's still free Medieval Times.
Yeah.
I know, exactly.
Yeah.
Work autopilot sucks sometimes.
Yeah, I feel like you have to almost work autopilot when you're working food service, though.
Yeah, people can be really bad. I had someone yell at me. Okay, our power went out once, and my boss didn't let me go home. I called my boss. I'm like, "Hey, our power's out," and they're like, "Keep working."
What?
And I'm like,
What?
Yeah, exactly. They're like, "Oh, someone will come," and I'm like, "No one's just gonna come and fix it." They didn't call anyone. They just expected the town to fix it, and it was 2 hours before we were supposed to close the restaurant, and I had a guy come in screaming, full on screaming at me, asking not even asking, demanding "Where's my food?" And I'm like, "I don't know, we haven't gotten any phone orders, the phone is off." He's like, "No, you picked up, I remember your voice."
What?
And I'm I was freaked out. We're in this dark restaurant with just some candles
Oh
lit.
man.
And I'm like, "Oh my," I'm like, "No, I'm sorry, sir." And he's like, "No, I called here," and he dialed the phone number, and our phone rang. But I'm like, you might have called the other restaurant, because what you have to know is there's another restaurant with the same exact name.
Oh, yeah.
But in another town. So he leaves, and then 5 minutes later, his daughter, who's high school age, comes in and apologizes for him.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, I mean, it's okay. I feel bad that he's this upset. I feel bad we don't have his food, but he didn't call here, and our power's out, so we can't make his order. We placed it now.
Yeah. There was a time when I was working at Pizza Hut in Lake in the Hills back in high school and this was when Jimmy was the manager, and
Jimmy.
so the two owners of the franchise, the 3 stores in the franchise they owned, they were really cheap, and they were very strict about us staying most of the time. And there was actually a gas leak in the building at one time when it was just Jimmy, me, and 2 drivers that were working that night. It was a Sunday night or some shit, and I just remember, like, they really did not want us to leave. Like, we did leave, because, I mean, we were like, you fucking assholes. You know, we could die. Like, what the fuck? And then, there was two of them. One of them's, I won't say their names, but, one of them was a lot, I guess, more like the nice guy kind of deal. Like, he would, you know, talk to us and stuff when he would come in and stuff. And the other one was kind of like the by the books, like, I only give a shit about money kind of guy, I guess. And later, the guy who was kind of like the trying to be the nice guy, he just texts Jimmy, "Health is precious," and we're like, what the fuck? And then we took that as we could leave, so we just closed up the shop like a half hour early. Because, I mean, with all the heaters they have for those pizza ovens and shit, man, you don't want to be around that if there's a gas leak, especially with fryers and shit too. Mm-mm. Oh god.
Yeah.
So Hadley, you are currently, if I'm not mistaken, pursuing 5 different languages right now. Is that correct?
Oh my! It's like 4.
4? Well, that's still pretty impressive.
Okay, so English doesn't count. But we got Chinese, got Japanese, we got Spanish. Those are like the 3 main ones, and then some like kind of side like fun ones. I've been like looking into Irish, a little bit of French, and like some Korean that I picked up at work. But like, yeah, Chinese, Japanese, and Spanish are like my main ones.
Do people speak Irish still?
Yeah, actually, they do. It's a lot less than there used to be. Actually, here I can find like a map that shows it, and it's like decreasing a lot as it goes on. But like maybe 20 years ago, there were tons of regions where people only spoke Irish. Like you literally needed like phrase books to talk to people, and those regions are called Gaeltachts. So like an Irish only speaking community, and they're all mainly on like the west coast of Ireland. Nowadays, obviously, most people speak like English, but a lot of kids, as their secondary language, they speak Irish at school. So actually, I can include a little map courtesy of Wikipedia if you want to include that in the description for other people to see. But the green parts are like the Gaeltacht communities that still only speak like Irish as their main language.
It's interesting to me, but not surprising, that they're all on the west coast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because as obviously the British continued to conquer, well, not all, there's a couple pockets here and there, but it kind of honestly reminds me, the westward orientation of it, it almost reminds me of looking at a map of reservations.
Getting pushed further and further.
Yeah, into like pockets essentially. Oh, interesting. How did you first start getting interested in pursuing other languages? Because I know you've always been, I remember you speaking German in like 5th grade and shit, or some shit in school.
Oh, that was middle school. Oh yeah, I took German too. I don't include that on the list because I took it for like 3 years and then I kind of stopped pursuing it really.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think because my mom started me on languages like really young, like she'd have me do like the early morning programs in like kindergarten and stuff for Spanish, and then I did Spanish all through elementary school. Middle school I did German with like some Japanese mixed in. High school mainly Chinese. College I took Spanish and Japanese classes.
And you're accredited in Japanese, like the first level or whatever, right?
Well, not the first level above it. So the first level is N5. That's the easiest. And then I got N4 for my JLPT, which is the Japanese Language Proficiency Exam, given out by the Japanese government once a year, like worldwide. And then like it goes up to N3, which is like
fluent.
Like pretty much, and then N2 is like business fluent. So if you wanted to work for a company in Japan, you'd have to have like an N2. And most people that aren't born in Japan, that's like what they get. And then N1 is like completely like basically like native Japanese fluent. The N1 is actually the test that they give Japanese students, like as their college entrance exams. Like, you know how we have like English exams for like ACT. That's like their Japanese portion of the ACT. So you're basically like taking their like college entrance exam.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. Wow.
Yeah, it's cool.
Do you find that learning Do you see patterns when you're learning, say, like Chinese, Japanese, and Korean, as opposed to like Spanish and French?
Yeah, I mean, grammatically, the languages, it's really interesting. They're, like, really different. Like, Chinese, grammatically, is really simple. Like, I kind of like Chinese a lot because I think it's, like, the easiest language to learn grammatically. Obviously, the characters are not, and the tones are not.
Mm-hmm.
But grammar's the thing I like least about language learning. So it's, like, there aren't really past tense. There aren't really plurals. You either say, like, to of something or that you did something yesterday, and the verbs don't really change depending on things. But, I mean, compared to, yeah, like, Spanish and German and stuff like that, I mean, grammatically they're all really different, I think. And obviously, like, when you go from, like, an Asian language to, like, Spanish, stuff like that, Spanish is, like, so much easier. Because you're
Really?
like, I don't have to learn, like, a whole new word for everything, like, with Chinese. Even with Japanese, a lot of the vocabulary is English loanwords, or loanwords from other languages. So, like, computer is computer.
Yeah. I remember you've talked about that before.
Wine is wine. Hamburger, hamburger.
So, I suppose also it's probably more difficult. Well, hold on. Which Chinese are you learning though? Mandarin or?
Right. Yeah, Mandarin. That's the one they usually teach.
Yeah.
That's kinda like the big one to speak when you're in China. It's actually really interesting too. I was looking into like more stuff about Cantonese, and most Chinese speakers in the United States that live like in Chinatown, like around that area, are like Cantonese speakers.
Oh. Huh.
So it kind of like it throws people's perception off because a lot of people think then like Cantonese is like the way more spoken language, but it's just we have really like large populations of Cantonese speakers, like large communities of them here.
Now, do you think that's because China has made efforts to make Mandarin like the main language, so they're trying to leave so they can like keep their linguistic continuity, or do you think it's just happens to be that way?
I think it just happens to be that way. I mean, the one thing you have to know with China is that it's like not even like Cantonese and Mandarin are the only dialects. There are like tons and tons of different Chinese dialects that are like completely different. These just happen to be like the two largest ones. Yeah, I don't know enough on the topic to be 100% like sure why it's like more Mandarin focused. I think that's just like in cities kind of for like trade and business and stuff. That's kind of what they're kind of focusing on as the language. So
Yeah.
I guess like the business language talk. So
And
that's why it's taught.
and you're going professionally. Your hope is to go into art, obviously.
Yeah.
Are you trying to incorporate like linguistics into the art, or is that kind of already part of it? If you're trying to,
I think with like languages overall, it kind of incorporates into everything. Because I feel like the main reason I learned a lot of languages was frustration at like learning about like a book or like a show or something that's so obscure from another country that it's never going to get translated, and it's like this concept that there's so much media out there, there's so many people out there that's like if you only know one language, or even if you only know two languages, it's like you're never going to be able to like experience that, and it could be like a really powerful like experience, you know?
Oh
So-
yeah. Oh yeah.
So I feel like that's been like my main focus with like learning all these languages is just try and like experience like all those different things, and I feel like that goes into my art because then I don't know, the more experiences I can get, the more like things I have that can inspire like story ideas or illustrations and stuff like that. So I feel like it's tied into everything kind of that
Yeah.
I do. Yeah.
So would you say it's changed your perception of reality? Like that's what I was mainly thinking. You know, like having that other tongue is like a whole new way of life almost.
Yeah, I feel like it gives you like I don't know, a way better view and like a lot more respect for like other people. I think a lot of an issue too is I've talked about this with some friends in other like language classes, is a lot of people when someone's trying to like speak English and they speak it really broken, they could be like a really famous like physicist or something from another country, but then once they speak like broken English, it's like a lot of people who have never really put the effort to like learn a language and stuff, like in their how they perceive them is like a dumbed down version of themselves.
Right, because like, why don't you just learn English better? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like when you like learn these languages and then you're in that place too, it's this weird like split self, because I know when I talk to like some of my Japanese friends, I'm like, God, I must sound like an elementary schooler or a middle schooler or something when I'm like talking about these things with them. And I don't know, it's interesting. It's definitely made me like step back and like totally like think like, I don't know, you gotta kind of like think of the person behind like the language barrier and stuff.
Right. I feel like that's a really big problem with why it's so easy for people in America to demonize people from other countries, is because it's easy to dehumanize them if you can't even understand what they're saying, you know?
Or like think they're like lower than you on like like intelligence wise, because you're like, psh, your sentence is like little kid sentence.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, like, even out first, they won't even try to understand someone who can completely speak their language. So good luck trying to get them to understand someone who doesn't speak their language.
That's definitely true. See, and I feel like I've kind of missed that. I feel like people in America miss out in general, because unless you are in a situation where you have access to a lot of language classes and stuff, like Hadley, you were just saying earlier that you've been taking Spanish technically since you were in elementary school. The only language classes I ever took was 2 years of German in high school. That's it. And I barely remember German, so I feel like it's kind of doing a disservice to people when you're only focusing on speaking English when every other country, most people are bilingual, at least.
If you think about it, like, America, like, the way that the European Union is set up is to have good relationships with all those other countries. We kind of still have this, the thing between the trade between Canada, America, and Mexico, where it's like free trade or something.
Oh, yeah.
But the way the EU works compared to us, like, we don't have to have a good relationship with our people. We are self-supporting. You know, we don't need to be part of the world. We can be our own global power, and they will follow us. You know, and to have to level ourselves to become equal and to like try to like understand all those different languages in our school system and whatever means that we're not the leader anymore. We're following them now. You know, so it's kind of like an ego thing to me. You know, at least. But there's really just no incentive, because we're also all the way over here, so it's understandable that we really only learn Spanish in our grade schools. Because a lot of people never even leave their state, let alone go to a foreign country.
That's true,
I feel like that's also another like people are doing a disservice to themselves, like thinking that, because like the area that I live around, it's like we have such a huge like large communities of like different like language groups.
Yeah.
Like I was just at like a Korean-owned restaurant, and I like said hello to the guy in Korean. I thank you to him in Korean. Like we had like a fun conversation about like, he's like, oh, you know some Korean? I'm like, I only know how to say I'm hungry. That works here because at a restaurant. It's like we have so many different communities where like you could practice a language, or you could learn about like, or like meet different people that you probably wouldn't have if you don't like experience that. Because we have a lot of Chinese speaking communities, Japanese, Korean, like Polish speaking communities, like all these, especially with the United States being such like a big melting pot of like so many different like people, so many different races and languages. We should have more of like the drive to want to learn these languages, because like we're like the only place where you could go, I need someone to speak Chinese to. I guess I'll drive like a half hour over here.
Yeah.
Go to this Chinese grocery store and talk to like the owner, or hey, I want to speak like this language. It's like we have them all around us.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Sorry.
I feel like I definitely agree, but I think the main problem is that it's really only been for the last, I don't know, maybe 45 years that there has actually been a big push for inclusion from like people. I mean, for most of the time, America, the dream was to make it the white man's country. I mean, you have the Chinese Exclusion Act in the 1890s. It took until the 1960s for civil rights. We had, 70 years of Jim Crow. I mean, I think that people have such a short historical time frame when they're thinking about things. They think, oh my God, things are so bad right now. It's never been this bad before. I can't believe it. And then you look back, and if you really look, all the way back to the 1620s when the Massachusetts Bay Colony was founded, shit's been plenty crazy since then. But for the most part, it's always been, we're the shining city on the hill. We're the new Israel. We are the chosen ones. It's the white man's country, and it's the white man's world. I think that it's so deep rooted in the base bone of America that it's going to take a lot longer for the shackles of our own kind of westward expansionist mindset is going to kind of dissolve.
Which it is, but so slowly.
Yeah, far too slowly.
Especially with like all these movements, like they're not. I don't feel like we're doing enough. Like the right way. I don't know how to put it. I need to think about it more, for sure.
What do you in
like? I need to think.
Well, no, this is fine. I mean, you're allowed to think. Adela, you've been pretty quiet, man. Do you have any thoughts on this? Okay then. Fuck
Sorry.
Let's take a smoke break.
Oh my goodness.
Think about this and come back.
Well, I mean, you can feel free to think about it. I was just curious on y'all's thoughts about that.
Well, there's just a lot of different aspects that go into it, Like, we have to think about what's our aim, first of all. Do we want to be entirely accepting of everyone, or... So, like, yesterday I was thinking about it. Like, just at our Green Paws meeting. Like, I like you, I like Matt, I like Jana a lot. Like, that's the main people I go there for. Like, those are the main people I would talk to there and outside. And Alyssa and everything. Just because I don't like other people there, like, doesn't mean I don't accept them, Like, there's that fine line where people think you have to like everyone. You don't have to like everyone. You don't have to be friends with everyone. Not everyone is your friend. You can't be Donald Trump and have everyone be your friend everywhere. And I have a lot of friends in Utah. They're good friends.
Yeah.
I asked my friend. But anyways, like, not everyone's going to be your friend, and like to accept that, but to still be able to accept them and have a human conversation with them. And I think that a lot of people are focusing on trying to love everyone, like everyone. Because you can love all of humanity, but to like every single person for everything that they are is so complex and so hard. Because even you, I have things that I don't necessarily like about you, but at the end of the day, the things I don't like are worth... I mean, like, the things I do like are worth fighting for, Like, that's what makes it worth it. It's the similarities. Like, we're always going to have differences. And sometimes, like, some people, you like their differences because it's so interesting to have, like, conversations with them. And to have that in your mindset that I have to like everyone is just wrong. Because you're not going to like everyone. Like, I don't like a lot of people. But the main thing that I know is I can accept them for who they are and just let them live their life the way they want to.
Yeah. No, I think that's a really valuable thing that you just said, especially with, and I think about this a lot, especially with how vocal they are recently, but like the whole social justice warrior movement is so fucking insane. I was just watching earlier a couple compilation videos of just stuff that these social justice warrior people are saying, like on campuses and on the streets and stuff, like in a variety of cases where the way that they argue is almost self-defeating because they ramble on, they have all these bizarre points, and at the end of the day, they're just trying to shut down communication, like, in general, They don't even want to have discussions. Like, I was just watching a video earlier where there's and I don't necessarily like the guy, like you were just saying, but he's a very smart human being, Ben Shapiro, and he was speaking at a college campus about how he didn't support abortion, but he did support contraception and shit like that. And I mean, I don't really honestly give a shit one way or another about abortion. I really don't give a fuck. It doesn't affect me personally. And if it did, maybe that would be a different story. But right now in my life, it doesn't. So at this point, people should do whatever the fuck they want. But he was speaking about abortion and contraception and shit at this lecture, and there's these girls that stand up and they're just shouting at him that he's a white supremacist and that he's a racist and that he's a misogynist and that he's a Nazi and shut this talk down. It's like there's cases recently all over the country of campuses refusing for people to come speak because of the content matter. It's so weird to me.
Yeah.
It makes if anything, it's actually giving more power to them because then they're like a commodity because they're not being allowed to speak places. So people say, well, what the fuck's going on with this? And then they go and investigate it more, and it's God, it's so weird to me, man. I've come across, there was a time, I can't believe I'm saying this because I'm gonna get shit for this. I feel like by some, if anybody listens who doesn't know me, I guess, but. So, I would consider myself a pretty open person.
Yeah.
Friends. I don't really. We're all human beings. I don't really give a shit what you look like or what you decide to do. But what I do give a shit about is when you make a point to publicly try to essentially chastise people over things that they're referring to you to as. Like, I do not agree with the whole Zisms or Zer. There was a time I was hanging out with a friend of mine at a party, not even a party, it was like 7 people at a house, and, that's a party to me, and, we were playing Cards Against Humanity, and, my friend Naomi didn't hear what one of the people said, so I was telling her, I said, oh, she said blank, and I'm gonna say girl, because she was a girl, this girl makes the point of tapping me on the shoulder, and saying, excuse me, I just wanted you to know that I am non-binary. I don't identify as a binary gender. I'd prefer you call me they or them. And I honestly, I didn't even respond because it wasn't even so much the fact that she said it, was just the way that she said it. She came off like so offended that I had the audacity to call her a her when she was biologically a girl. She looked like a girl. She dressed like a girl. She had a boyfriend. She was straight. I feel like the whole, it's like vanity almost. You know what I mean? Like, it's really weird to me. Like, I don't ever, like, listen, man, if you feel like you're a woman trapped in a man's body and you feel like you want to go through the process of trying to become a woman, that's totally fine. I'll call you she. I'll, respect you on that level. But at the same time, like, you can't just start throwing around like words that.
My thought on it would be just that I don't know you yet, and why can't I call you by your name? Just tell me your name, and I'll call you by your name.
Yeah, exactly. That's totally fine too.
That's what I think they should do. That's what I think people should be like. Like, I would prefer that. But either way, I just don't understand it, and I think people are going to do what they want to do. But I'd rather just call people by their names than say they.
But, like, at the same time...
Or whatever it is. So introduce me to yourself if you're offended, and then we'll talk, and then we'll get to know each other, instead of having these false names in front of yourself to identify yourself as this part of society. I want to know who you are, not what part of society you relate to being in,
Yeah.
Because I think that's what it is.
Yeah, we're going more towards becoming an identity.
Ourselves.
Yeah, we're going more towards becoming an identity as opposed to just being individual people.
Yeah.
Which is really weird.
Yeah.
Like like we were talking about this last episode. I feel like the label millennial, in so many ways, doesn't really. I feel like it really doesn't apply to me that much. Like most of the stereotypes that, are described of millennials, I feel like I don't even know half of what the hell it's talking about. I mean, maybe that's a special case for me because I don't have a smartphone or any social media, but
Well, same with my friend Glenn.
Fuck.
Actually, he does have a he doesn't have a real social media. Yep.
Oh God, I don't know.
But again, it's all about we should be finding ourselves, not finding our place in society, because society is always going to lead us astray from what we truly are, because you can't define everyone with one word, except for human.
Yep. Well, until we become cyborgs.
And then we can call ourselves human cyborgs, so we'll have 2 words.
Or androids.
Well, there's only one android.
There's at least
Data.
20 androids if we're talking about Dragon Ball Z. Although technically those are cyborgs.
Oh, we're talking about Star Trek.
Well, I mean, they're both good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down with both of them.
Oh, I was going to say earlier, yeah, like the protesters for that thing, it reminds me, like if I relate it back to myself, I'm thinking, like, when I was using drugs and shit, like, if someone were to come to me and give me an argument about myself that was to say I am not the person I believe I am, as in I am destroying my life with the use of these drugs, I would totally just, like, be like, you're crazy, or just walk away, totally ignore their argument. I didn't want to hear their argument because I was wrong. And that's what it comes off as. I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just saying, like, when you completely deny someone the ability to speak their opinion, that's when you're probably wrong. Or you're so emotionally attached to your opinion that it will never change. And that emotional attachment isn't a logical or real attachment. It is completely a belief. It's not a fact. And, like, to be that attached to something means, like, isn't good, you know, because we should be open to change. Because if we have such strong beliefs that they can never change, then we can't grow as a society. Because society is never going to be perfect, and we need to always be growing if we want to reach a truly successful society.
But it's hard, man. There's 360 million people.
Well, yeah.
In this society alone.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just so many people, man. It's just biologically we're not set up to be able to
continuously adapt.
Well, no, to be able to make 360 million people get along. We're not
Oh,
biologically adapted to do that. Like,
well, again, we don't have to. We just have to accept each other.
yeah, but I guess
Like, getting along is like liking everyone. You just need to accept them. Be like, they have their opinions. I can't control that. If everyone could have... but you can't do that. What the fuck?
What?
You can't have everyone have that mindset because that isn't going to be everyone's mindset. You know, that's, again, trying to give everyone the same opinion. Everyone's going to have their own opinion.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't know. Doesn't everyone have the opinion that red is a good color? No.
I'm not a huge fan of red.
Well, blue's my favorite color. I was going with good because it is a good color, but something.
I mean, there's no bad colors.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, there are bad colors. There are definitely bad colors.
Oh, what color's bad?
Like mustard yellow. I don't like mustard yellow. Like just that, like the mustard yellow. Like most yellows are pretty good, but like kind of like throw up mustard yellow. You know,
Like sewer water green.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's your guys' favorite colors?
Blue.
I kind of like tealish colors, more on the blue scale.
The blue scale. Hadley,
Yeah.
orange, correct?
Yeah, but it's interesting that you bring this up because I was having a discussion with one of my teachers, and I'm like, orange is my favorite color, but through all these art projects I've done, I've learned orange is honestly the worst color you could ever use, just like on the technical side of things.
Why?
Like, okay, so it's really like if you're using some cheap like student grade acrylics, it's like one of the colors that you have to put like 50 layers because it always is like really translucent. Or when you're making shades and tints, so what like a tint is like you add some white and it makes a lighter shade of that color, or a lighter hue. And a shade is like you add a little black and it makes it darker. So if you're doing like a scale from light to dark, or you have a piece where it's only like orange and you need lots of variations in like the lights and darks, orange just sucks for that. It looks gross when you try to make it darker. It's really inconsistent when you mix it. It's just orange sucks for anything art-wise. I still love it as a color, but I'm slowly stopping using it in any of my projects.
What is your favorite artistic medium?
Oh gosh, that's hard. I really enjoy ink and brush and watercolor.
Watercolor.
But recently
That was
I've
a lot of options.
So it's just ink and watercolor. I mean, I also am really starting to like oil paints a lot. I'm redoing our painting studio class at school, and it's an independent study when you do that. So I've just kind of been being really chill with my oil paints, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah. Yeah. Huh.
Adela, do you still paint at all?
I never really painted. I was always more of a sculptor.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Have you made anything that I would have seen around your guys' place?
No, mostly because most of my artwork my mom has or I have just thrown away because I don't really like it anymore. But I am working on an art piece now for my native literature class. So yeah, I've been working on that all morning, which I forgot how much effort you actually have to put into an art piece and how long it takes.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it takes so long. I was just painting these 4 triangular pieces, and it took me I started at 9 this morning and I got done a little before you Skype called me.
Damn.
Because you have to paint the front and the back. And plus I was using 6 different shades.
Yeah, that's a decent time commitment for sure.
Yeah. And it's not even constructed yet. That was just painting.
Wow. What are you making?
For our native lit class, we had to pick a topic that we've talked about in class. So I did my art piece / paper on the topic of telling Native American people to get over it. And so more so going more in depth with intergenerational and historical trauma. So what I'm doing is I made these kind of 4 different organic shapes, and each one kind of symbolizes certain points in time. So one is before contact, one is after contact, one is about during the 1960s, throughout the 1960s and 70s and even up till now, there was this huge shift within Indian country where people, because this was after the boarding school era and stuff, where people were actually learning that it was okay to be Native American and it was something that they should be proud of. So that's what the third kind of shape is about, and then the last one is about just being resilient and just how and I'm piecing them all together through this weird string that I bought because I want to show how
it's connected.
How each is connected, and then I printed off all of these different pictures and all of these different words of different historical events that have happened to them, and I'm weaving it into the string.
Ooh, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, I'll send you a picture when I'm done because I'm trying to get done with it today. So.
Okay, so your favorite thing is to do 3-dimensional art?
Yeah, I would love to be a painter or know how to draw, but I'm not good at it.
Maybe you can take some lessons from Hadley.
Dude, anyone can learn to draw, man.
Yeah, which is really funny because when I was younger, my mom thought I was going to be a painter because I was always drawing and always painting. My mom never thought I was going to get into building sculptural pieces or ceramics or anything like that. But my mind just thinks a lot better that way and can construct things a lot better. But the downside of with making 3D pieces is that I'll think of really cool things that I want to make, but I'm damn, you can't do that 3D wise. drawing or painting thing.
Paint 3D. Should paint on 3D. I was thinking about doing that.
What do you mean?
So like, doing a painting on a 3D artwork thing, sculpture that I make. But like abstract.
Oh, yes.
Have you guys ever been to the alpaca farm in Elgin?
No, I want to go.
There's a old man and an old lady who own an alpaca farm, and when they shave all the alpacas, the woman and her husband, they save all the fur and they dye it, and you can come to their farm and have a workshop where you learn to make art with alpaca fur, and it's kind of like almost like similar to working with oil pastels, but it's like 3-dimensional because it's the alpaca fur. And you have to like so you have like a piece of felt, and then you have a bunch of, they literally dye the fur in just a bunch of different colors, and then you use a needle and you push it into the felt, and that's how it like sticks. And then she also does a caustic work, which is like painting with wax, and it's cool.
Oh man, field trip.
Yeah, right. What is this place called? Do you know what the farm's called?
No, I don't know. I'm sure we could look it up online though and find it.
That sounds incredible.
Alpacas are really soft. I've gotten to pet one once. I went back in high school with Travis and Olivia Pilch, actually, if you remember her. They used to have, Olivia and her cousin Sarah used to have a bunch of horses at a horse ranch out in, that must have been by Burlington, I think. It was off 47. And they had like a big area with a bunch of alpaca and goats attached to the horse ranch. And dude, first of all, goats will eat literally fucking anything that you put in front of them.
Oh yeah.
Alpacas are so soft, man. It's like memory foam. You like can like poke them, and your like finger indentation hole is like still there after you pull your finger out. And they're so fucking derpy. They're hilarious, man.
Wait. Sorry to interrupt. I found the name of the place.
Okay.
And Rivendell.
No way.
Yes.
What?
Oh man, that's a sign. We have to go.
Rivendell alpacas.
Wow.
I know I'm doing our winter break.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're open.
The lady is so nice, and her cats like stay in the workshop room with you. So they're just like, we'll rock around. But it was really funny because when I was there, she was telling our group that they just reintroduced alpaca back to outside because for some reason the alpaca needed to be inside with them because it was sick or something when it was born. And so it grew up most of its life like indoors with humans and not with the other alpacas outside. And so when they try to like bring it back out, like it thinks it's better than all of them, and it would like keep trying to go back inside. It's like, no, I'm too good for this.
Wow. Used to first class, now he's going back to coach.
Yeah, I just think that's like funny how animals can like adjust to a certain lifestyle.
Yeah.
We taught this lion how to eat tofu.
Is that Futurama?
Yeah, that's Futurama, yeah. And then the lion's all like skinny and shit, and he's just like,
Sad.
Oh my god. Dude, that'd be awesome. We should do that over winter break, for real.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember telling your friend Kevin about it. Isn't his name Kevin? Kevin Mink?
Yeah, Stinky Minky.
Yeah, Minkster. I always remember you saying that too.
Yeah, and sometimes we call him the Winkster.
What? the Winkster.
Yeah.
The sphincter.
No, I've never called him the sphincter.
Eric told me the first time he heard Luke talk that he thought that Luke was Kevin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he thinks that they sound kind of similar.
Yeah, your voices maybe, but not the way you talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Kevin Kevin's Kevin. I love Kevin, man. He's such a goof. I go out and spend a weekend with him every summer, and the last time, and every time right when we see each other, it's like no time's passed at all. We'll just
Yeah.
be like, oh, hello. We'll be like, hello. Oh my god, it's so funny, man.
Will
We
you
usually
be
just
home for Christmas?
probably yeah, for a little while, visiting his parents and stuff. We should hopefully all get to hang out. That'd be good. Are you and when do you and Eric finish school?
We will be coming back home on the 21st.
Oh, a little later. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's our week of finals is the 18th.
Oh, really? Okay,
Oh.
so your finals are a week after ours.
Yeah, isn't Harper's Alright, your finals.
I'm in finals hell right now.
Yeah, I'm in finals hell too.
Me too.
Everything's due on. I was actually in the wood shop today, working on like a metal and wood sculpture. I have due for a class.
Nice.
Yeah,
What is it though? Like the metal and wood sculpture?
It's like an abstract kind of thing. It's kind of hard to describe. When it's done, I can take a picture.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we could post it, I guess, later.
Somehow,
It's okay.
Yeah. Oh, it sounds cool though. Metal and wood.
Either way,
Yeah.
I'm getting Chinese food.
Oh yeah. now that Adela talked about the most expensive Chinese food ever.
So how big is this sculpture?
It's not. So the max was 12 by 12 by 12
Feet?
dimension-wise. So it's a little under a foot tall.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's
It's-
what.
It's like, I don't know. It's really weird because we had to originally take two items and then really abstract them and combine them, like two things that have nothing to do with each other. So I took my boyfriend's rusty car, like a lot of close-up pictures of it, and then I took a nib from a ink pen because it has like the weird shape to it, and I had to like abstract them a bunch and then make a sculpture that looks like neither of them.
Huh. That's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
You're like
Yeah,
deconstructing two other things and making something new with it.
Yeah, no, I like it. I mean, I made the mistake of taking 4 studio classes this semester, which all my teachers told me not to do just because of how like time intensive they are. You're only supposed to take like 2 max. So I'm like, I feel like I'm not making it as good as it could be because I'm working on a bunch of like other stuff that's due.
Mm-hmm.
So it is what it is.
I can see what you mean. I mean, you gotta. Well, although I was gonna say you gotta strike balance, but then at the same time you'll be done with a bunch of them early though too. So.
Yeah. Well, wait. Done with a bunch of them early.
Like you're knocking out 4 of them instead of doing 2 and 2.
Oh yeah, this is true.
Yeah. Because then you don't. Because spring is your final semester there, right?
It is my final semester.
Right. So that means that you won't have to do any studio in spring, right?
Oh no, I still am.
Oh, you
I
are?
still I'm having I've been having discussions with my teachers because there are actually so many other studio classes. Okay, I thought I've taken all of them. I've taken drawing 1, drawing 2, design 1, design 2. I've taken painting twice. I've taken figure drawing studio. All these classes, but now I'm like having a little tug of war with my teachers between like taking sculpture or ceramics or photo or printmaking because they're all like in the same time frame.
Dude.
So I'm still taking 2 studio classes and then
You should follow in Papa's footsteps and do sculpture for sure.
but it's not like clay sculpture.
Oh.
It's more like it's a lot more wood and metal stuff again.
I mean, he did a lot of wood stuff too. Think of the totem pole.
Yeah, true. So
Ah, man. So crazy to think how much stuff he made.
yeah, like really.
Yeah. Fuck. And Alexander and Eamon have walking sticks. I don't have a walking stick.
Yeah, you do.
Well, I mean, I have my walking sticks, but not one that Papa made me.
Oh yeah.
It's fine. I love, though, that he made all his own tools. You can tell a real artist when they make their own tools. I mean, he also had money, so that helps. But dude, do you remember that fucking badass workshop in the garage, man?
Yeah, the workshop was so cool.
God, I wish sometimes that I was, like, Eamon's age, so I could have, like, experienced all that shit when I was older.
Yeah.
Because, you know, being, like, 12, it's cool, but it's not, like, I feel like I didn't appreciate it at all.
Mm-hmm.
You should come visit me at school sometime. I can give you a tour of like all our studio spaces, like all our crazy heavy machinery we have.
Yeah, I'm down
It's
with
like it's like Papa's Studio like 2.0. It's really interesting how like most art studios like obviously they're the personal touches of the artist, but they all like more or less have that general same feel.
that. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'd be down for sure.
Cool. Yeah.
Alright.
I mean,
Sweet.
especially if I get that teacher's assistant job.
Yeah, dude, that's pretty cool, man. I hope you get it.
Yeah, me too. I feel like it'd make me feel so official. Yeah, I'm a painting teacher's assistant. Ask me any questions. I feel like I'm gonna try and dress like more official, so I look like I'm actually older than people.
Are you
and
gonna
not,
get paid
like,
for this?
younger. Yes.
Dude, there you go.
Yeah, so that's really why I'm hoping to get it, because it's actually like a paid job, not just like volunteer, or not just taking off tuition.
Right, right.
An actual job.
Would it be like 10 hours a week or 20 hours a week or
So it's a maximum of 12 hours.
12? Okay,
A week.
that's not bad. That's kind of like the telefund was.
Yeah. And it's like really, really chill stuff, helping out like my favorite professor. It's weird saying professor because I literally call like all my teachers by their first name.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's exactly how it is for like me and Melissa Burlingame, who's my kind of and Luke's too, of course. But since I'm like ENVS major, I've been working almost every day now in the environmental office on campus, and then she's basically we've got it set up where I'm going to be hired now next semester as like an office assistant, helping the ENVS department out do like work and stuff.
Oh, whoa. Okay, sorry. I was just checking my email, and yeah, cool. Okay, the lady who runs the program emailed me and told me to like go fill out the application for it. Okay, so
There you go.
I think I got it.
There you go.
Oh, cool. Yeah, because she wants to give me some information. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, guys, I think I got it. Oh,
Fuck
yep,
yeah,
I got
dude,
it.
congrats.
I look forward to it. It's really funny because the print gets smaller in the email until it's like 0.4, and it's like, I look forward to working together in the spring semester. All right, cool. Hi, I am now I'm now a painting teacher's assistant, guys.
Yes.
Nice.
All right. So that means that next time we have you on, I'm going to introduce you as
The painter's
the painter's assistant. Yeah.
All right.
Have you ever been to Panda House?
The one in the strip by the school?
Yeah, is that any good?
Yeah, it's decent. Their sweet and sour pork's pretty good.
Is it better than China One or Happy Walk?
I've never had either of those places,
Okay.
so I can't really judge. What is your guys' favorite Chinese food dish?
Well, my go-to's sweet and sour chicken.
Sweet and sour chicken?
But I love there's this one place that has like these ribs as an appetizer.
Oh yeah, the Chinese
They're
ribs are really good. Okay. Okay. Hadley?
There's this one dish that Emily's grandma used to make, and I don't know what it's called, but it's like this pork, not pork, it's a beef stew, and it's like the beef gets so like tender from cooking like in like the soup that it like just completely melts in your mouth when you eat it.
Damn.
And whatever that is my favorite.
Damn. Adela?
I like mochi, and I also like dumplings.
Yeah. Well, those are... Well, mochi is Korean, I think,
Oh.
right?
Actually, it's Japanese.
Oh, is it really? Okay.
Oh.
I'm all fucking up here.
No, it's
Sorry.
It's Korean.
Okay. Wait, what was the other thing you said? Oh, dumplings. Like which?
yeah,
like
the
what? Like
dumplings.
pot stickers or?
Yeah, pot stickers.
Yeah, pot stickers are fucking good. I think honestly, maybe one of my favorite Chinese things is either those goddamn scallion pancakes, or fucking crab rangoon, man. Some nice, hot, freshly made crab rangoon. Oh my god.
Well, they don't have teriyaki chicken.
I don't.
Raccoon.
I feel like teriyaki.
Yeah, some crab raccoon. When I was younger, and obviously when Nick like still lived with his parents and stuff before he moved, in with Katie and shit.
Mr. Nick.
Yeah, Mr. Nick. He told me a couple times that I don't really remember this because I was pretty young, I guess, when it happened, but he would come over, like, to hang out with Alexander and have dinner with us whenever his parents made this dish that they called Hillbilly Surprise.
Oh, yeah.
And he said that he just never wanted to figure out what the surprise was, so he never ate over there. And he suspected that it was raccoon.
Oh, God. Like, their dad just picked up a thing of roadkill on the side of the road, and that was the hillbilly surprise.
All right, honey, I got dinner.
That's fucked up. I remember, when I was little, I wasn't that little. I must have been in middle school, but I was watching some daytime talk show, and it was this lady was on there, and when she was younger, like, she grew up in, like, a really fucked up family, and one day her parents called her down for dinner, and she had dinner with her family, and then after dinner she always went outside to feed her rabbit, and she couldn't find her rabbit in its cage, and she came back in, and her parents were like, "Oh, you ate your rabbit for dinner."
Oh.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa. Wow.
Like, initially, what the fuck? And then, like, a minute later. It's funny now. We got over it. Get over it.
I'll start laughing at this poor woman's pain.
No, it is fucked up.
He ate her fucking rabbit.
Pet rabbit.
So sad.
That happened
yeah.
to a woman that I used to work with, actually. She was born in Germany. She's like 75 now. She was born in Germany, and her dad was in the Nazi Party in Germany in like the 40s, and she told me that one day when she came home from school, her dad had dinner ready for her, and she ate it, and then he told her that she just ate her pet rabbit.
Oh, man.
And that she, had to get tough in the world or whatever, so he cooked up her pet rabbit and fed her some Hassenpfeffer, which is a German rabbit stew.
That's pretty fucked up.
Yeah. Oh man. Can you imagine eating your fucking pet?
Yeah, like, I can never imagine eating my cats or something like that. That'd be fucked up.
Yeah.
Dude, there's a lot of cultures that do eat cat, though.
I don't want to hear about it.
Eamon ate dog a couple different times in South Korea.
Yeah, you've told me that, and every time you tell me that, I think about it the rest of the day.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Like, it just fucks me up.
Yeah, he said it's pretty good, actually. Yeah.
I like him a little less now, I'm sorry.
Hey, man, but...
Like, he's still a cool guy, though.
But that's Korean culture,
Yeah.
I still like him a little bit less. Just
Over
'cause I love
Thanksgiving
dogs.
break,
Huh?
over Thanksgiving break, Eric's stepdad showed us this really fucked up picture. You know those bear rugs that people have?
Yeah.
Like, it's like just the skin of the bear and they're like stretched out.
Yeah.
Somebody made one of those of their dog, out of their
What?
dog though.
Whoa.
And it's honestly like, it's fucked up looking at it. It makes me want to, because they said, the owner said that they did it because they like really love their dog.
Yeah. Okay.
This was another intense one at times, and thanks for listening, anybody out there who's listening. Eric Molson, you seem to be, besides family, the most dedicated viewer, so God love you, buddy. Alright, man.
Eric says he listens. He's been in the room the whole time.
Eric Lopez?
Yes, listening to our conversation.
Well, I mean, he's basically like a co-host now, so, I mean, he doesn't count as like a listener.
He does count. He listens during work to our podcast.
I'm sorry, Eric, I love you.
And while they're being live filmed, he also listens to our podcast, so he listens to them twice.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
More than Eric Molson, he says. I think he's trying to start an Eric battle.
Oh, we need to have a battle of the Erics over winter break.
He said that he's a fan, co-host, and guest of the year.
Well, I think.
I can't say he's not.
Yeah. Hadley, you were a great guest too.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you were a really good guest, Hadley.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, man. See, it wasn't that bad, right?
Huh?
I said that you're a great speaker. You talk really good.
Thank you. I'll be on. I am fine with being on the podcast anytime. You know, you need another person. I'm around. And, yeah.
For sure.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. See, look at that. You're out there now.
Fun.
You did it. Yeah, it's a good time, honestly. It's just fun to talk to people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, throw out your Twitter handler, your
Yeah. Hi, Mom.
your LinkedIn account.
All right.
These are all the things Eric's whispering in my ear.
Oh my goodness. All right, listeners. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.